So going back to the template DXF file, you guys had seen that I previously placed these individual blocks for reference. I'm just going to drop it down. So what I'll do is I'll kind of change them to a position that's more of an even number. So I'll try to get this as close to 6,500 and this to 2,500. So this block has an insert position on this bottom left, and 6,500, 2,500. I think that's a good position for me to place that particular block. So now I'll take that information, come back, make my X position 6,500, copy my Y position, place that in here, and save that. So in this particular project so far, regardless of any input selections from the user, I will be placing this particular block, which is my combiner, at this position X and this position Y. So to test that, I can go back to my projects and just press download CAD. If I open this CAD file, I'll see that previously the original template of the DXF file had the title block, but now it has also put this particular combiner box at this position of X and Y. So now continuing with the PV panels, I can insert a solar 4 count. This is a PV panel, 4 of them in series, that I can connect to this particular fuse at this position. Okay, so coming into my project again, now in addition to the solar PV model, I can say how many parallel strings of PV do we want to add. So number of PV strings. And the options are 3, save that. So I'll create a new engineering output selection, and I'll say if the number of PV panels is 1, I would like to draw the solar 4 count, which is this particular PV string, and I would like to place it at this position X and Y, which will line up with the combiner box at these positions. So let me copy that information. Here's my Y information, save that. Okay. So similar to the other catalogs and parts you guys saw earlier, I can just quickly duplicate a particular engineering output as well. So in this case, I've duplicated it, and I said I want to change the selection to 2 PV strings. So if I have 2 PV strings, if I come back to my CAD drawing, I would like to have one here and the second one placed there. So to get the position of the second PV, I'll just quickly test that out in my CAD drawing by dropping it into where I want it, and then I'll grab its X and Y positions so I can put that into my DynamicBuild project. So I'll add a second block, so I'll be a solar 4 count. We have this X position, and be at this Y position. And I'll continue along, duplicate that, and then once I duplicated it, it will carry the information that I duplicated previously. So now if I have 3 PV panels, I would like to add a third PV panel connected to this fuse. So I will insert another solar PV panel here. Now the modifications that I'm making inside this CAD drawing are only reference for myself to know where to place the individual blocks in my drawings. Me modifying the CAD drawing here does not modify the CAD drawing that is saved onto DynamicBuild. The only way that would happen is if I were to save this file and then re-upload this CAD file back into DynamicBuild. So the third position would be at this X and Y position, so I'll copy that. So So if I have 3 PV strings, I want the third solar PV to go at this X position and to go at this Y position. And I'll save that. So at this point, I can go test out the engineering output up to this point. Come back into my projects. So if I press download CAD with a single PV, regardless of the PV manufacturer, I should see one PV string connected to my first fuse. That's good. Change this to 2. Download the CAD. And I should see 2 PV. And then finally, if I change this to 3 and I download CAD, I should see 3 PV strings connected to F1, PV1 plus, PV2 plus, and then PV3 plus. Okay, so this is a very simple example of manipulating the CAD drawing in order to place different blocks at different positions.